Okay, so this is Dialect Czaten Dacha. So can you all see the folder okay? Okay, great. So first, I think we'll go ahead and discuss the safety tools. So this session, we're going to be using Xcard and lines and veils. So Xcard is basically a tool where if you ever feel uncomfortable with something, you can exit, and we will kind of rewind a little bit and kind of pass around what was making you uncomfortable. Basically, you can say X, you can go like this. So we're gonna use Roll20 for the Tableau, and Sasha, I'll put the link for you there in a second. So just because we'll be switching back and forth, I think it would be best to just say X so that I can hear it, because I don't want to miss it if you try and X something. And then also, I want to do lines and veils, and there is a Word document in the folder that says lines and veil Czaten Dacha. So make sure you put it in that one and not in Blackfish City, because that's a different session. So I'll go ahead and get the link for the Roll20 while you all do the lines and veils. So just, you should let me know if you can't edit the Word document. And I just put the Roll20 link in the chat. You don't have it. And that's just easy for us to write everything down and deal the cards. And then when we use Roll20, make sure to turn the video and audio off so that it doesn't interfere with the Google Hangouts. And that's under the little gear on the far right of the little white box on the right-hand side. Is everybody good, or do you need more time with the lines and veils? So the ones we have, the lines, which will be kind of content that we will avoid altogether, is incest and sexual abuse or assault. And then veils, which is something we can talk about and maybe like include in the plot, but it's not something we'll be seeing directly on screen, is self-harm. And if something like I said, if something comes up in the middle of play, feel free to Xcard it, and we can also add to lines and veils if something comes up, and we can even move the veil into a line if that's needed. So does anybody have any questions before we move into the game? Okay, good. So now we'll kind of introduce the game. Have any of you played Dialect before? Okay, so there's a PowerPoint in there just labeled Dialect, and it kind of has like the little introductory stuff just to give you, kind of get you in the mindset of all the languagey stuff. And so what I'm going to do is pick on you all to read the slides. So
I will read it if you would like.
Yeah, V, why don't you read the first one?
I volunteer as tribute. This is a game about language. Do you recall your first words? They were something simple or silly, no doubt. Or mother. Ma. You were probably toothy and drooling and most definitely loud. Even if you don't remember, you surely said them. The act of saying something, anything, may seem so humble and small, and yet it's quite extraordinary. By speaking and developing language, you are exercising something big, something fundamental to being human. This seed is in each of us, a profound spark that separates us as a species and drives a line between humans, animals, and robots, for now at least. From your first words, you were anchoring your connection to the world and your place in it. Language is the logic of your internal clockwork. It's how your brain organizes information and how you convey to yourself, you convey yourself to others. It is your innately endowed technology, and because it's so utterly human, the markers for your culture and identity are embedded within it.
Does anyone want to volunteer for slide number 2?
I'll take it.
Thank you.
This is a game about language. Language tells a story. Woven into the way we speak, we reveal what we care about, where we come from, and who we are. It changes as we change. More than ever, we now stand at a critical juncture. Far beyond the natural pace of change, the world is losing languages at an alarming rate. They are being lost to the mundane, everyday pressures of money, violence, social prestige, climate change, and frayed community. As global communication connects us, it also risks compromising our cultural core. Right now, almost 10% of languages on Earth have fewer than 10 speakers. In embracing what brings us together, we threaten to erase what makes us special. What happens when a language is lost? The world takes another step towards sameness, and we lose a shade of humanity. This may seem inevitable as we hurtle headlong into the singularity, but it is far from it. In order to fight this future, we must fight to understand it.
Alex, can I pick on you to read the last slide?
Oh, of course. Is it number 3 or number 4?
Well, I'll do number 3 and you can do 4. This is a game about language and how it dies.
Dun, dun, dun. In Dialect, we'll follow an isolated community through its beginning, rise, and end. We'll tell their story by building their language. New words will come from the fundamental aspects of the community: who they are, what they believe in, and how they respond to a changing world. Together, we will decide what they become.
Great. So the first part kind of this game is kind of like the world world/community creation, and then character creation. So first we're going to work on the world creation. And so we're going to go to that Czaten Dacha document. Do you all see that now? So I'm going to pick on you all again to read those first 2 paragraphs. Does anyone want to volunteer?
Should we go back around? I'll go next.
Sure.
Sure.
In their language, they call us Czaten Dacha, horse people, but we know who we are. The carts our horses pull are our homes, our workshops, our market stalls. We travel from place to place, from the shores of the great ocean to the highest mountain passes and back, always among them, but never one of them. We are redsmiths, merchants, and entertainers, sometimes scorned, usually grudgingly unwelcomed, never really trusted. I'll pass on, to Sasha for the second.
We ignore the hard looks and ignorant taunts and endure the spiteful laws of the petty warlords, because when things go well, there is prosperity and joy all around. But when things do not go well, when fear and distrust turn to hate and murder, that we cannot ignore. We have our carts and our horses, and the Czaten Dacha look again to the road. There's always another village, and we see to our own.
Yes. So before we start the aspect generation, I just want to talk about 2 things. So the first one is, I think Alex and V saw this in my email. It's mentioned in the description, but I just want to go over it again. So when I decided to play this scenario. One thing that I really wanted to not do was kind of play into gypsy stereotypes and even just avoid the word gypsy altogether because it is a slur against Romani people. So, I mean, not that we can't get inspired by elements of it, but I just really wanted to avoid those stereotypes. And then the second thing that I want to talk about is just the tone of the game and kind of ask and discuss with you what tone you want for the game, like whether you want it to be more light and funny or kind of serious or dark, or what combination of those you want to play.
I am not I'm not as well versed in traveler culture as I would like to be. So I appreciate any guidance, any corrections if it comes to that, when it comes to that, probably. I don't know, I'll pass tone off to someone else.
I want to second that opinion or feeling or sentiment. In terms of tone, I'm pretty open. I can go one way or another. I just came off a really dramatic game, so I wouldn't mind anything light, something lighter. But I'm also just very open to everything, which is unhelpful, I know.
Yeah, I will say I'm not like an expert or anything, but like, you know, some of the common stereotypes that I've seen, you know, things like, you know, Romani people being thieves or like the stereotypical fortune teller. I think those are things we can easily avoid. Alex, did you have some thoughts?
None that'll help.
Did you have any ideas for what tone you wanted?
No, I can really go anyway. Should we, as a suggestion, should we go for something slightly lighter?
Yeah, we could do something where, I mean, I tend to like games where it kind of bounces back and forth a little bit, where we have serious moments, but we can also have really like fun or fluffy moments. So we can just start with that and always see how the flow is going and change directions if we want to.
Yeah, if we start high, it will be very easy to get dark. So,
yeah. So now we'll start with the aspects. Let me just get the Tableau open. So while we're making aspects, so we're basing the aspects, and these are like the characteristics that define our community that we're building together. And you see on the scenario sheet, there's the 3 prompts. Well, one of them being the free aspect, we can choose whatever we want, but then the 2 prompted ones. And the kind of 3 guiding principles for creating things is to make them big, make them clear, and make them bite. You know, these are things that we're going to be using to really base our characters off of, and the words we'll be creating. So we don't, we want them to be interesting and thought-provoking, but, you know, not too nebulous. You know, big, but not like too general. So we'll get started. So the first question is, wheels always turn. No matter how much we move and all that we leave behind, what do we never forget? So you can just throw that around.
I feel like we never forget the sort of like the seasons, like the fact that things always repeat. So though we leave behind, someday we'll pick that thing up again.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it behind, and that's just the way that life is.
Yeah, maybe like the cycle.
Yeah. So
yeah.
The cyclical nature of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put just to have it as like one word, I will put down cycle. Cycle. Oops. Are you two okay with that? Okay. Sorry, I was just making sure I spelled it correctly. So the next one is protecting the mysteries. The Czaten Dacha are always outsiders, but to some our secrets are tempting. What secret do we keep to ourselves, no matter what? And I will challenge Alex and Sasha for this one since we did the first one.
Right, Sasha, what are we gonna do?
Oh, good question. Oh, secrets. What are cool secrets?
We could have like super secret maps or something. Maybe we know ways no one else does.
Maps are cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. We know routes that most people don't. And like sometimes we know when to take those routes when they are clear.
Oh yeah, the whole like seasons.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm gonna put secret routes. Secret routes. And then the last one is a free aspect, so it could be anything we want.
Can it be diet? Like
Yeah.
I was thinking like either as like a cultural thing or just like sort of like a kosher or like a haram kind of thing where we have particular foods that are important to us or that that we avoid.
Yeah. So what food is important or what do we avoid?
Can it be just like a color, a particular color we can't eat?
Ooh.
That's cool. So what color?
Blue?
Sure. No blue food.
I look forward to knowing what kind of blue foods there is in this land. I'm sure there are some.
I can only think of blueberries off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's, other things. Yeah. I mean,
is this fantasy land or is this like set in our world? Can that be?
It can be whichever.
Yeah, yeah. So
which would you prefer?
I'm okay taking things a bit fantastical. So like if you want it to be like, as well as blueberries, there are snowberries.
Yeah, and also I think we can also interpret the blue as kind of like blue/blue-gray, that like, certain fish or meats look like. Okay. No blue food. Also, food can be dyed. No blue cake. All right. So no, yeah, maybe blue tea, like green tea. So now we're going to do community questions. And the way this works is that we'll kind of go around the circle and each person will answer one question. Alex, you're on the left on my screen, so I'll start with you.
All right, so, oh man, how do people display their fear and distrust of us?
Yes,
it's totally got to be they like eggs outside their houses.
Oh, that's great.
Like ward us off, keep us away.
We just can't eat the flags. That's all. It's not a.
I know, but it's true. But
they don't know that.
They're so bad.
But it's symbolic.
Yeah.
And we always scoff at it when we walk past, like these people.
All right, Sasha. What services do we offer that usually overcome people's wariness?
horse breeding. We have like really nice horses.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Or like training, maybe? I like horse training better, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of be all wrapped up in there. Horse breeding, horse training.
Yeah.
All right, you are number 4. Oh, no, number 3. How are our carts and horses decorated? What distinct garment marks us as Czaten Dacha?
We live very simply on the road. We like things that are durable and will last for years, and we'd rather mend them than throw them away and get a new one. So our carts and horses are decorated with the leather of our past ancestors and grandparents, and handed down, taken good care of, mended. The distinctive garment that marks us as part of the Czaten Dacha is that we wear a what do they use for horses? It's not a whistle, is it?
I rode horses for years. I should know this, but I don't.
Yeah. Is there like
people will do different things with their mouth, like whistle or like make like kissy noises.
I think it's a whistle around our neck that's been carved out of a very special wood that appears only in one of our more secretive routes. And that's the whistle that we use for our horse training, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's not really a garment, but I guess we all have to wear it around.
Yeah, I think it's an accessory. And so I will do number 4. What feature of our social hierarchy sets us apart from those whose lands we travel through? I'm going to say that the second child is the most important, as opposed to like the first child. So, like, in the most crass terms, the first child is the test run. And I'm also going to say that, like, the gender doesn't matter, but it's the birth order that's most important. Like, in an extended family, like, the second child of the oldest generation is the patriarch or the matriarch. And then in the larger societies, it would be more like the first son, like the more typical historical, like in European, I'm not really sure about a lot of other cultures, but like in the European one where the first son is most important. So now we got those down, and now we have to name the isolation.
We answer the last one. What is the biggest threat to our way of life?
We only have to answer as many people as we have.
Okay. Cool.
So now we have to name our isolation. So, I mean, I guess as a people, we are the Czaten Dacha, but what's our particular, like, group?
Something about the trails that we take, right?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Something high road, something.
I think like the untraced tyro.
Yeah, that's really cool. You can do that.
So there's a thing in like hiking and stuff that's called leave no trace. So that's could be something we work into it as well.
The untraced high roads. So now that we've kind of built the world, we're going to build characters. And so in the folder, I kind of have a very simple character keeper. It's not fancy. I've tried doing character keepers in Roll20, but it just doesn't work very well. So we'll just do it in this spreadsheet. So basically how it works is it's focused around an archetype card. And I will deal those to you in Roll20 now. If I can find it. Yes, there it is. And so everybody gets 3 cards. So you pick one of the 3, so you get some options. And then I'll give you a few minutes to kind of put some details down in the character keeper. Actually, I'm also gonna, actually, no, I think it's okay. So what's in there is just like your name, character name, and pronouns, and the archetype that you have, and what aspects and the characteristics. I guess you don't have to type the whole archetype card in there, but I guess if there's like a particular aspect, like how you just also mention how you identify with the aspects. But what's most important is that you know it. So, and then I'll give you a few minutes to do that, and then we'll do character introductions.
So are we choosing one of these cards or pulling from all of them, or?
Yeah, so on Roll20, I gave you 3 cards. It should appear right above your little avatar box. And then so you pick one. It's just you have a choice of which one you want to do.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I would also say that I appreciate having a game full of non-binary people and women. This is only the 2nd time this has happened to me in the Gauntlet. And the other time was also playing Dialect.
Yes. We outnumber them.
Good shit.
There's also name suggestions on the backdrop sheet. But you can also feel free to pick whatever you want. It's just there if you are having trouble coming up with one or want to use it.
What do you put in the descriptions? Is it just like a free-form, whatever you feel like?
Yeah. It's basically whatever you want.
Do we talk about the red text on our cards?
Yeah,
now?
we'll do that in the introduction.
Introduction. Should we write the? Nah. Okay, we'll go through. Yeah.
Yeah, you can if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to adjust the spreadsheet a little bit because I think when I merge the cells, it's like making some of the text unreadable even when I wrap the text. So I will try not to delete any of your stuff. I'm going to... wait. Oh, somebody figured it out. I will just leave it like that. Oh, wait. Maybe when... I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make this work. And not delete anything that you wrote. Yeah, that should be okay. Do you need more time or are you good?
I'm dubious as to how much I like the thing that I've written.
Well, you can always kill off your character in the first round and make a new one.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna... Well.
So in between the different ages of dialect, we can pick how much time passes in between. So for example, if you have a fairly old character and like 30 years passes, they will probably die. And I've also had characters been like murdered or put in jail forever during a dialect game. So Sasha, if you don't like your character, we can always get rid of them.
Okay. I'm gonna change some things really quick, and I'll be ready. I'll be ready shortly.
No problem.
Okay, I like this one better.
So now let's go around and introduce the characters. So Alex, I will pick on you again since you are on the left-hand side of the character keeper.
The name and the character keeper are both against me.
I'm sorry.
No worries. So I am playing a Desiree Ziza, archetype of leader. What did that say? A paragon of what it means to be in the isolation. We come to you when we need a decision or action. We'll talk to you about what to do next. Desiree tries their best to personify all of the aspects that encompass our isolation. And when she's uncertain or unsure, which is, quite often because we're to lead a people, believes in the cycles, trying to learn from the past. Yeah, that's all I got.
Which aspects does he identify with?
All of them.
All of them. Okay. And I assume that he's a second child.
Yeah. If anyone wants to be the first child to the God show, because I am more than welcome for that sibling rivalry.
Okay, Sasha, I'll go to you next.
I would love to be your elder sibling, actually. So Tyr uses AM. A is the ruler, which is you have ultimate power in isolation, at least on paper. Your will should always come to pass. People talk to you when they seek enforcement. So you are the ideal, and I am the hammer, as it were. My description is, Tyr is of the old guard, literally and figuratively. A swears by the secret roots that keep us safe, but more often wonders if our reliance on the cycle doesn't do us more harm than good. So I identify with two of the aspects, but I fear that one of our aspects is undermining me.
So do you also identify with no blue food?
Yeah.
And then you don't like the cycle?
Yeah.
Okay, just clarifying. So I'll go next. So my character is Ina, and she is the celebrity. So we all recognize you. Silence descends on any room you enter. Heads turn. People talk to you about the latest gossip. You identify with only one of the aspects it made you famous. So I am the fastest messenger in the land, as in the various countries and towns we pass through. And I do this by using the secret routes, which is the aspect that I identify with. And I'm thinking that she is probably in the mid-20s range. And yeah. So we'll go to UV.
Yeah. So last but not least, we have Zima. She is a healer. And towards the back where the horses, near where the horses graze and that sort of thing, you'll find Zima, who is someone to come to when you're hurt. And I make sure that everyone is ready to serve the isolation for another day. People talk to me about their pain. Now, Zima is the holder of the oldest whistle in the group, been carved by the great grandmother somewhere down the line. And Zima is similarly aged, not quite that old, but she's still a very healthy, large woman, very strong. You need to be able to help horses give birth. And Zima identifies with the cycles and the secret routes because I think she finds those things useful, a good way of life, very wholesome. However, being quite knowledgeable about medicinal things, avoiding certain blue foods are making us prone to particular illnesses. And I mean, secretly, Zima probably has some sort of poultices that have those blue foods, but doesn't use them publicly anyway. Yeah.
Can I also say how much I appreciate that we have picked all the colors but the blue character sheet? Well done.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's funny. So in the folder, there is a quick reference sheet, which basically we've already done create the isolation and create characters, but now we're going to start the first age. And so I just want to give you all a few minutes to kind of look over the flow of play. Moving through the ages, I will kind of walk you through, but I just want you to look at the flow of play, and if you have any questions or confusions, you can ask me.
Cool. I think I've got it, but I also wouldn't mind, Noella, if you lead by example.
Sure, I can totally do that. So we can go to the first stage, and then after we do the first stage, we can take a little break. All right. So yeah, I can do the first one just so you all can get a sense of what it's like. And I will deal the cards. So let me just double check. I think it's 3 cards, but I just... So Yes. For each age, there are different cards which basically kind of guide you as to what words we are creating. Everybody gets 3 1 cards. So, and then one thing that I want to mention is that at any time, even if it's not your turn, you can create a variant by discarding 1 card from your hand. And that, we don't really do discussion for that. You just kind of do it and put it down. So when we kind of make the card, we discuss the word as a group, but the final decision is the person whose turn it is. So let's see what I have here. And then even though it's a little hard to see, I'll put the card down next to the index card, just so we have it for the reference. So what I will go ahead and do, I am going to do the past. Oh, that's small. This Roll20 is not perfect, but it's what we're working with, unfortunately.
Oh, I know, with card-based things, it's so hard.
Yeah. I mean, if we have any problems, we can just blame Yoshi because he's the one who made this. So I will do the past, and I am going to connect that to no blue food. And my idea is to call it the blue time. And that's basically like, I have an idea that like, not recent past, but maybe like a few centuries ago, we were kind of part of more mainstream society, and there was a point when we broke off into this kind of separate group. And the blue time is kind of like a word for like that more ancient history, like, well, not ancient, but that past history, that far away history, as opposed to recent history. What do you all think?
There's a before the blue, and then there's an after the blue. I dig that.
That's cool. Yeah. I like that it's like probably something we use, even though it refers to like a far off time, that sometimes we use when we feel regretful about our own pasts, right?
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely something that can be used more idiosyncratically. So I will put that on the card.
Oh no, we don't call them that anymore. That's a blue name.
Yes. So yeah, I will put the blue so we can use it kind of more generally. Something like a far away past. So like the blue time, or that's a blue name. After blue is like recent. And so the kind of last step of a turn is when we do kind of a small conversation. And so since it's my turn, I can pick which characters will have the conversation. So it can be my character and another character. I can also pick 2 other player characters. There can be a player character and NPC, or multiple characters. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and put Desiree and Tyr together and see how this like sibling rivalry is going right now.
Oh, good.
Nice. What's the prompt?
What are
So
we
you basically have to use the new word in a conversation.
Oh.
So it's very open. So we're kind of using the word that we created. Actually, oh no, it's really small now, but there is a prompt on the. Let me just blow this up as much. There is the red text on the bottom of the card. What haunts some of us is the more specific prompt for the conversation.
There's a bar at the top right, which will help with zooming.
Oh yes. Yes, you're right. I just find it amazing. A little unwieldy.
Yeah. Yeah, Roll20 is not the best for cards, unfortunately. But it's the best that we got, so.
Yeah, I haven't found a better one. So what haunts... I guess what haunts your two characters specifically, right?
Yeah, and then just using that word in the conversation.
Cool.
Okay.
I mean, we've got some parents in common.
We do have a couple of, at least 2 parents in common. At least a parent in common.
At least a parent in common. And if I'm the leader, like now, maybe they're, for some reason or another, have gone.
Mm-hmm. Here's my idea. Maybe they have, like, settled down or something. Like, they found good in a town somewhere. And once we were in, like, once you took power, they were like, all right, y'all are gonna be fine. We're gonna like retire, which was weird for everybody.
And they started eating blue foods.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, maybe their town is next up on our route, and I'm like, we should just let what went to the blue stay there. I don't think we should stop here.
But I mean, we've always stopped here. We've got to keep stopping here.
Oh, we fully do not.
It's the cycles. This is what must happen. It's what has always happened.
Well, that was helpful when everything was the same, but it's not the same anymore. And we need to be flexible. We need to be able to move past what happened before.
But we can't. You can't change.
Think about our roots, right? Our routes, even. How in summer it's okay to take the low routes because the rivers have dried up somewhat, and how those are impassable in the spring, right? It's bad timing. But think of that larger than just the seasons. Think about that for the rest of our parents' lives.
I mean, do you really think we can avoid all of this until it's just faded into the blue?
I mean, I have to try.
We can cut there and go. Does anyone want to go next?
I have a card that...
Sure.
is pop. An expletive.
Nice.
A rude word.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, and I do think that as a as an older person who's not bothered about things like being polite, be a word that Zima uses a lot. A word said in fury or frustration. Some may find it distasteful. And I think I have to make a connection. And I think that the connection is going to be with something something to do with the secret roots, I think. I haven't thought of an exact word yet, so I take suggestion, but I like the sense of it is like it comes from going on a secret route at a particular like sort of time of year, a route, and finding it blocked, right? Because that's the worst thing that we as travelers would encounter, a blockage of some sort, of fallen tree. It's just we're not going to make it past. So something that's evolved out of that kind of idea.
The thing that just popped into, that's a good idea. I'm just looking at what Alex wrote. The thing that just popped into my head was blocked. Like it rhymes with blocked, and also sort of like it sounds like fuck a little bit.
Yeah, balked. Yeah, and I think there's like booking this, booking that.
Yeah.
As well. Cool. I'm gonna write that into my little.
Yes, exactly.
Oh no! Why is it so tiny?
You can change the font size too.
Yeah. There you go. It was huge and small. All right. And the scene prompt is a moment we'll later regret. I think I want. I think this is Zima and Ina actually. One of the rare moments when Ina is around. Her horse has been long off a trip, and Zima is looking over it. And towards Zima says, "It has been so long. Why don't you come stop by? I'll just have you in. I've got some good herbal remedies if you're interested."
Yes, of course. You know, I'm so busy with all of the tasks that I have, relaying messages here and there.
And how has the lands been in your travels? What's new? What has been new?
Well, I've met many new people, and I've met so many people, and they're not, you know, my parents, the elders, they always told me that everyone was so bad, but I've met so many kind people. And Zima, there's someone in
Hey, child.
There's someone that There's someone special now.
There always is with you young spring chickens.
Yes.
And I think this is like at this point we're already sort of in Zima's personal private space, and coming out from like a cupboard is a collection of berries of varying colors, including the dreaded blue. And obviously, I think Zima knows that Ina is not particularly not going to find that too troublesome, and she's grinding those up. Oh, so tell me a little bit more about this someone in a nearby.
Yes, in Lanster Town. She's the daughter of the mayor.
Look at oh no, oh dear, oh bucket. And I think she's like dropped one of the berries, and it's stained her shirt. Like it's a distasteful blue. Oh, fucking shit. Come help me. Do you have a spare cloth there? Oh no, oh no. And I think there's like that flurry of movement and sort of, that's probably the end of the scene.
Yeah, I wanted to say one thing before we end it. I think Ina kind of looks at this shirt and tells Zima, like, her eyes are blue like this.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. Well, it's good color for eyes, but not so good on my smock.
Sasha, do you want to go next?
Sure, yes. Okay, so I'm picking a thing, and then I'm attaching it to a thing, and then I'm going to make a word. Okay. Let's do friend. This type of friendship is unique to the isolation, a bond that comes from a shared activity or a particular way we regard one another. And the prompt is a revelation among friends. I think that this is tied to the secret routes also. This is I don't know how to move these cards.
I can help you. What are you trying to move?
I'll just put it next to this one over here. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
It's a scouting partner. When you go places, you shouldn't go, especially if you're moving ahead to make sure that the way is clear. You should go with someone else, so that if you say get stuck in a river or fall down or anything like that, get caught up on terrain or get ambushed even, that someone can either help or get help. Maybe this is for a word, I'm thinking something to do with a temporary tether, or a belay mate, you know?
Ooh, I like the tether because it's a horse related to.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
We could do the tether. We could just use tether.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's pretty strong.
Okay. Yeah, and I would like to see Desiree and Zima use this word.
So the prompt was a revelation among friends. So Alex, how old is Desiree? Or roundabout? Am I much older?
Huh?
Am I much older?
Sure, I like that. Say Desiree's like, I don't know, young. Generic young age.
Yeah, I like to think that although we have such a gulf in our age, we're actually quite good friends, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I can come to you for support, right?
Yeah,
The
I mean, what
healer.
was... Yeah, and healing. I mean, what kind of pain did you first come to me with?
Oh. Definitely like stomach cramps after I had to make my like first big decision as like leader. It's like, oh man, is this the right option? And then I just couldn't sleep.
Yep. And I think, yeah. Huh. Where would you want to be? Where should we be? What kind of discussion are we having here?
Oh,
Revelation among friends. It's a bit of a tough one to frame.
it is. What's revelationary scenery?
I think it's on a bluff overlooking like the land. There's a few routes, both secret and non-secret, around this wild area. And I think you're trying to ask my help in deciding something about exploring this area or maybe finding new routes. So I'm not sure like what Desiree would see. Yeah, go ahead.
A route has been blocked, and so I'm trying to find an alternative, trying to figure out what to do.
Right. And I think what it is, yeah, of course it's booked. Things go box shaped every old year at this time of year, plenty often. Desiree, I think we should send. You should send someone. Maybe you can scout yourself.
But we've already lost time. We need to. We need to keep going if we're going to make it to the next point in time.
Sure, but we can't just go willy-nilly. You go here, it's blocked. So there, it's blocked. We need to send someone to find us a clear route. Surely that would be faster.
I mean, if you think so, but I can't go alone. Who would I take?
Yeah, I mean, you need a good tether. It's true. I would. You are. You are close to me, and I would say we're tethered, but I'm far too old to actually be with you out in wilderness on horses and all that. Maybe that young'un, our fast rider.
I mean, I give me a second while I look up pronouns. I don't know her that well. I mean, can I really trust her to be my tether?
I know Ina to be a reliable rider. Yes. She's quite, as these young ones are, like you yourself, got lots of ideas. Maybe not quite so upstanding as you, but none of us are as upstanding as you.
But they'll need to be. I need to trust them.
Yeah, and I think sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say we can cut it there, but if you can say what you wanted to say too.
Yeah, it was basically that, like, I think we sort of fall silent at that point and watch the sunset over the routes.
Yeah. Great. Alex, do you want to go?
Oh, sure. What cards do I have? Oh, that's right. I am going to play Resource. If I can figure out how this works. Go away, cards. Haha. Now I cannot read the card I just played. Give me another second. Okay, so a vital resource for the isolation. Without it, we would be truly lost. So I think this has totally got to be the trees we used to make whistles. They're like only grow on like on one of our secret roots. And I was going to connect this with cycles. So I imagine they like these trees like grow in like circles, and only once we're big enough can we like cut them up to take out like the chunks, make whistles. Oh. What would be a good name for them?
What color is the wood? Like what texture?
I was imagining it to be some sort of like white thing, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I dig the white. And it's got to be like super like hardy, right? We're in the like strong trees. Maybe it's like it grows in like super windy regions, and so it's tough and sturdy like us.
Yeah, trees in the wind, they kind of get this like tucking effect, right? They get all shriveled and small and compact, and it's a denser wood.
Yeah. All right, let's go for... No, wait. Yeah, let's go for Crystal.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's circle and whistle. And it
Perfect.
How do I write on this thing?
So on the left-hand side, there's the third icon down is either like a paintbrush or a eye. If you click it, it'll bring up some options, and there's one for text.
Ah, what have I done? It's way too big.
You can adjust the font size too. I can also help you.
I think I have got it, but I appreciate the offer. There we go.
Yeah, you got it.
And then I pick a scene, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go for looking at character names. Yeah, why not? Let's go for Tia and Ina. The prompt is what someone does to get more.
Awesome.
Maybe it has something to do with like the rivalry between Tyr and Desiree. And you are trying to like get more of the crystal to like upstage them. And maybe you like ask me for help since I'm like a good writer.
Okay. I don't know what I paged over to look for, if I'm not finding it. Cool. I really like crystal as like a verb. Like if we take the time to crystal this, then we can make it like long lasting and advantageous for everyone. So maybe what I'm asking is so I want to make a plan here. And what I want to do is in the town that flanks the crystal tree groves, there are a number of extremely talented sculptors, and I want to forge a relationship with them, to crystal a relationship with them that will keep us in good standing with them, so that we can stay there longer, so we don't have to go back to the blue town, the town left in the blue, that I've been arguing with Desiree about. So how I wanted to ask you if you would tether with me on this, and help me get the supplies, and also help me with negotiations.
Of course, dear, I will help you, but sculptors, they use blue dye, they hang blue flags when we come into town, and Desiree and the other elders have held them in contempt for so long.
I think times are changing. I know something, which is that I've heard from our travels that the what's a good blue plant? Indigo? That's I
don't know what it looks like.
But I know it's from a rock, isn't it? But I know that dye has skyrocketed in value recently, so there will be fewer and fewer banners of it, I suspect. Yeah, well, purple is on thin fucking ice.
Well, I will tether with you, of course. But I think also in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is not going to turn out well.
I'm happy with that.
So so it's the end of age 1, and so before we do the transition to the next age, let's take a 5-minute break. And so we'll take an 8-minute break and come back at 35. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Yes, hello, sorry.
No worries. So we can get ready to transition to age 2. And so here we will be making an important decision, which is which path we are going to follow in the age transition. So we're going to pick between the black text and the red text. And then for age 3 in the legacy, we will follow the same path we choose now. So do any of you have an opinion of which path we should follow?
I note that the first top left one, as I started reading, was marries an outsider, and I feel like we've already alluded to that.
Yes.
Blah, 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 blah.
What are we looking at?
So the backdrop, on the second page of the backdrop is kind of the pathway, the 2 different pathways for time flowing in the game. It's age transitions. So it's the Czaten Dacha backdrop.
Yeah, I'm into that. In that wedding that we set up. I mean, we didn't set it up.
Yeah.
The plot did, and then
We are the plot.
Ina just sort of found her way to love.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll read it. A powerful Czaten Dacha woman, Ina, we'll just say it's Ina, marries an outsider, and instead of shunning her forever, her kin attend the wedding. What permanent chains to Czaten Dacha customs emerge from this unlikely occasion?
I like the idea of stains. Either to cloth or to skin.
Mm.
I don't have anything further on that thought than that, so
Maybe like part of the wedding ceremony is like staining the wedding dress or the wedding clothes. And that could also be like part of like the transition to adulthood too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So now we have to evolve an aspect. And well, before you do this, I'm going to ask, how much time do you think has passed? It can be a short amount of time, a few weeks, a few months. We could do an even longer amount of time, depending on what we want to do.
I feel like it's probably like a couple of years, like maybe somewhere in the like 2 or 3 years range.
Sure. Yeah, we can do 2 or 3 years. So things have definitely moved along, but you know, nobody has died of old age yet. And the, interpersonal conflicts are still very much the same. So now we're going to evolve an aspect. So we're going to pick one of the aspects to evolve, meaning we're going to change it slightly, kind of reflecting this cultural change and passage of time, while the other 2 will just move unchanged into the new age. So which aspect do you think we should evolve?
Oh, you know how we had a couple of fallen trees and all that, and unpassable routes? Maybe the weather's gotten like deeper and deeper into, maybe it's winter is getting harder and harder to navigate through, to the point where that whole section of the cycle, we think, it's not really worth, I guess our paths have changed. We don't really do our winter path the same way anymore. It's more like winter is a time to rest. So there's actually like the wheels sort of grinding slower to a halt. So it's like a 3 cycle. What do you think of that? Is there any details that we can add to make it? Yeah.
So just, I think maybe we could write that down as the resting time.
Yeah, the resting time.
So
And
I will.
like, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so do you want to evolve cycle for that?
Yeah, I think cycle to resting time. And I was going to tie it to the permanent change. It's also time where you would do staining and other sorts of crafts like that.
Especially since we have someone who is married to an outsider, so we have a literal sort of tether to that place that they're from.
So now we're in this circle. Before we were on the outside of the circle. Now we're kind of on that first big circle inside. So I will just move some cards in here. So, and then before we move into the rounds, you have the option. So after everybody took their first turn, I gave everybody an age 2 card. So you should all have one of those. And now you have the option to discard any card from your hand, except for the archetype cards, but any of the age 1 or 2 cards from your hand and draw a new one from age 2, the age 2 deck. Does anyone want to discard and get a new card?
No, these are pretty neat.
I kind of want to see more H2 cards, so I'll give it a shot. How do I do any of this?
So take one of the cards in your hand, and the one you want to discard, just drag it to the tableau and then delete it by just selecting it and pressing delete on your keyboard.
I can vanish by itself. That's convenient. Wait, no, it just moved. There we go.
Yeah. B, did you want to discard, or do you like what you have?
I like what I have.
What about you, Sasha?
I'm good to go.
Okay, I will just... I'm just going to discard, get a new card. Okay, so so I'm going to go in the opposite direction that we went in age 1. So Alex, we'll start with you.
Alrighty. I got a doozy. I will play the card Title of Command. So one of us is gaining prominence in the isolation, and this is the title used by like people loyal to that person. Oh, this is a title used by those who recognize your authority. Now, what is a good word?
Maybe like the vanguard, like the people who ride out in front.
Oh, yeah. Vanguard.
I think that's what it literally means.
Let's go for Vaunter as Vanguard and Winter combined.
Sure.
So, like
this? Like VANTER?
I was going to go VAUNTER.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good.
Doesn't work spelling-wise, but I like how it sounds, so...
Yes, go for it.
I think this title stems for my beloved sibling, Tia, who was the first one to suggest the hulking down for the winter so that we could avoid our parents.
It's pork. Okay, yeah, I guess that is what that was. All right.
You and your breaking traditions. Gosh darn you. Oh, and this can be tied to the resting period one.
Yeah, yeah.
Neato. Is this a new title? Or is this one that's been bestowed as an honorary thing?
I mean, both.
Okay.
Yes, this is a new one created just for you, so that people can show that they don't like me as much as they like you.
Huh.
So, who do you want to be in the conversation?
Oh, it's got to be me and Tia.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Vonter Vonter?
Vonta Tia.
Tier Vonter?
Or just Von Tia.
Vontier? Yeah, right.
Even thought about that. Von
I'm
prefix.
a little embarrassed about it. And this is an awkward conversation.
Oh yeah, that's why I chose it.
Great. Awesome. Cool. Love it. I'd love to. Yes.
Where should we be?
Where should we be?
There's got to be like in the town before the parents, right?
Yeah. So this is once the campus started moving again?
Maybe we've just settled down. Like we've just settled in for the winter.
Okay.
I think I've forgotten my own character's name. Give me a second. Desiree. Just like angrily saunters over to Tia. And is like, I hope you're happy.
I try to be. You don't seem particularly pleased, Desiree.
Yeah. I wonder why that is. We've broken the cycles, Tia.
We haven't broken them, we've just modified them.
A broken wheel doesn't turn. There's no stopping the cycles. We can't take a rest.
Well, there's no point in using a wheel across broken ground. It's just going to break it further. If we take the time to fix it, we get stronger.
We're hardy people. We can power through it.
We have powered through it. We don't have to.
And we can keep powering through it.
If we continue to run ourselves ragged, then we won't be able to survive. We have the opportunity here to fortify, to crystal our abilities and our standing, and we should take that opportunity. And I don't understand why you're so hostile to this when everyone else here seems to get it.
They don't understand. We followed the cycle so far, and it's worked. And now we're trying this change. What if we can't make it to the roots on time? What if everything is balked because we took a break?
Well, we have our history behind us. Everything that was in the blue is still in the blue. And we've learned from them. And while we move into a new and treacherous world, which we were going to move into anyway, I know, you're young, and I think that Tyr is like sort of weirdly older, like probably like 10 years. And so it's just like a weird situation where they, like, their parents, heir parents, like, waited for 10 years before deciding on an actual heir. And it has sort of haunted them for a bit. But A says, you know, you're still pretty young. You haven't seen how drastically the world can change. We need to be able to be flexible so we can change with it.
The world's changed a lot up until now, but we've always stayed the same.
But are we better for that?
I think
Really?
we can cut it here.
Yeah.
With this, I have a feeling this argument could go in circles for years.
Sure.
As and will.
Yes.
Cycles for eternity.
Yes.
So I wanted to end it on one note, which is Desiree walking away saying, I hope you're happy, volunteer.
Yeah. That passive aggressive sibling.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
So, Sasha, I think we can go to you next.
Okay. Haha, this is handy. I will attach this to so I'm going to use evolve, which is, as pressure builds, we change in ways big and small. As we change, so does our language. Oh, this is an action. Am I supposed to be using this?
Yes. It's
Okay.
basically just a card with additional, like, rules or different rules.
Okay. Make a connection, play on an aspect in the current age, and choose a word from a previous age. Move the word to the new aspect and explain how the word has changed meaning because of this aspect. Okay. So this is not making a new word. This is sort of kit bashing the old and the new.
Yeah, you're kind of changing the meaning of an old word that we made in H1.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any actually good ideas for that. So I think I might do a unit of time. An important unit of time in the isolation tied to our routines, environment, or whatever defines the rhythm of our days. And I'm going to attach that to secret roots, I think. Here we go. I think it's like specific. I feel like for us, time is extremely connected to place in a really distinct way. So
for the action card, that you don't have to pick another card to go with it. You just use the action card.
I changed my mind. I didn't want to use it.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. So I think that this is
it's related to our roots. Is it like it's how we measure our roots, surely, right? Like a day's worth of travel is split up. Maybe we put markers on trees, right? And then it's like a notch. So you've got many notches?
Maybe it's like okay, I think I know what it is. It's the sap length. I think that when you cut a tree deep enough, the sap starts to come out, and so the length of it will tell you what time of year it is and what the weather has been like here. If it's a lot of sap, then it's been very wet or very or at least very humid. And if it's short and brittle, then it's been kind of a hot and rough summer. So
It's really cool. I like that. And so I think like we refer to our own sap lengths, right?
yeah.
Cool.
Right, I have to pick a people too. So definitely Zima having the longest sap length of the group. And I just had a thing, so I don't want to like crowd the stage.
Yeah.
I guess Zima and Ina? Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I think what it is it was alluded to. I don't know if it's been alluded to actually, but maybe they're actually somehow related, right? And Zima sort of it's a blueberry pie kind of afternoon. There's been many and regular, and now that it's resting time, I've had a bit more time to do so. And Zima sort of says, "I've made some arrangements. I'm still healthy, of course, but I'm getting older, and you're also getting older. Look, I'm gonna say it straight. I think my sap length is reaching the end. Well, or one has to prepare. So here is and like pulled out a mountain. All of my recipes, from this blueberry pie to the scones I made last week."
Oh, Zima. Oh, I can't bear to think of you being gone.
Well, don't think too much of it. I'm just making preparations. I'm going to live a grand old age.
Yeah. Esther and I will have our children soon, and I want you to be there to take care of them.
Yes, my sap's thick and oozing still, child,
Yes.
and I look forward to it though. I do. I think it would be nice to hang up my healing mitts and to spend time with the little ones.
Although we are unsure who will be the second born, because we will both give birth around the same time, and even if there is some gap between them, it is not the same as usual.
Well, that is another pie's problem.
Yes.
I think we can leave that.
Yeah.
That is cute.
Well, V, it's your turn now.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is. I've got one that is, I think, appropriate for this era. It is one of those action-y ones. It's widening, where something is becoming more important to us as a community, a bigger part of life. Something becomes a much bigger part of life. This word infiltrates our speech in a way we had not anticipated. So I'm going to make a connection to resting time, which is a new aspect for this age. And I'm going to pull, I'm going to need help pulling the card over. The tether card. And I think we alluded a little bit to it earlier, but I think that resting time and tethering now becomes making a home, right? Like tethering yourself to the earth. And it becomes a bigger part of our community. Oh, did I skip the world assassin? Yeah, right. So tether means like I think it's moved from just meaning a friend, but like a companion, but a way of life living with your companion separate from everyone else as well. And the scene, what we wear with pride. I'm going to throw this one. I think to Ina, and specifically, I like just. Is it okay if we just do it to have just one person? So sort of have you.
Yeah, and we can also have NPCs too.
Yeah. Because I think I want to see, because this word is something that reflects home life. I want to see what that looks like.
I guess it could be with me and Esther. So, does anyone want to volunteer to be Esther? Yeah, because I can't do it. Yeah. So I think we're both like 7 months pregnant at this point. And, you know, I look over to Esther and it's like, dear, can you please put the tea on?
Alex or Sasha?
Sure, I'll be Esther. That's gonna be. I thought it was your turn.
Oh, but my feet hurt.
Yo, my hands hurt.
Oh, why did we decide to do this at the same time? This was
I don't know.
I kind of like get up and I'm like pouring the tea, and I'm like, I sit beside you on the couch and I just kind of like lean on Esther and I'm like, I know this is hard, but there's no one else I'd rather be tethered to.
I'm glad you decided to tether here.
Yes, I'm glad babies will be born in the resting time. I think that's good.
The babies will never know the travels as much as you did.
Yeah. So I guess it's my turn. Let's see what I have. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do honorific, which is a term to show a particular level of respect or deference in the isolation. It may be earned or given. And for the aspect, I'm going to tie it to the resting time. Let me go down. And So I want it to be something that's like very honorific for like someone who is like an elder, like a very valued caretaker. And I think I want it to be like Zim, like after Zima. Like it's something where Zima becomes such like, you know, it's like a, you know, that very valued character of like the healer, the grandmother. And so no, like it's like Zim Ina or like Zim Tier. Like that's the yes, also a prohibition tiebreaker. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Zine. Okay. So I think I want this to be Tyr and Zima, which I guess it's a little weird because it's from Zima's name, but
I mean, I'm happy for it to just be Tyr, or Tyr, yeah, with some of M's like supporters, right? Because I don't think we've really looked into that.
Yeah, we could do an NPC too.
Yeah, and I'm happy to play that NPC if needed.
Sure. We can do. How about we have Tyr and
who's Tyr's like most trusted supporter?
I guess we said the parents were gone. Maybe like an aunt.
Ants are cool.
Yeah.
Let me just pull out a name. Let's do Mumat.
Yeah, and so Mumat's definitely your biggest supporter. What's the prompt was standing up to authority.
Oh boy.
Who's the authority? Yeah.
Good.
I guess it's Tyr.
Yeah. Standing up to authority.
Or it's more, we can interpret it more broadly. It's us going to the king or queen or whoever is the general, not our people, but the lands around here. And we can finally do something about those blue flags or any of the issues that plague our peoples. And so that's the authority we're going to bring it to.
Yeah. Am I using the honorific for you or are you using it for me? Because I could go either way.
Yeah, good question. I'll let you decide that because I'm just an NPC.
Sure. I think Mamot, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Z Mamot, yeah. I think that as the first child, especially when Desiree was born, you were the one who was mostly taking care of me, while Z was like being like educated and raised for the purposes of like becoming the next leader, which Z has done. So I have a lot of love for you, and I am relying on your auntie stare to get me through this this discussion.
Yeah. And I think the discussion actually starts with when we're being introduced to a representative, you know, of the wider lands who can hear us on our point, being introduced, and when they ask what your title is,
Right.
I obviously say this is because we introduce each other, I think. And
Yeah.
your aunt says "Vont" to you.
And this is my Zimamat, trusted advisor and confidant, and what I guess what pronouns would you use?
I think I think she her. I think
Okay.
she. Yeah.
And anything that she says, I stand by.
And she puts a reassuring hand on your shoulder.
And then
then we get that shot. Yeah, I think we get that shot of us like very different compared to everyone else. Like there's like a long table of, I don't know, stinky white men.
Yeah. And maybe the introduction is quickly like going down the line, and so they're like, yeah, okay, next person. But between the two of us, it's like, okay, we can do this. Actually, we've got each other's backs.
Cool. Oh, that was nice. Is that all of the ones for this age?
Yeah, that's all for this age. So now we're going to transition to the next age. So
entering age 3.
Czaten Dacha wagons linger in the larger villages for more than a few days, sometimes a few weeks, sometimes even an entire season. Among the more bold, there is quiet talk of turning the wagons into proper homes. Who most stridently opposes the plan, and how will they manifest their will? So how long do you want the time lapse to be here? Yeah, we can do a huge one.
That'd be rad.
How huge? 50 years, 100 years?
I think long enough for Ina's kids to be grown.
Yeah, so why don't we say like 30 years? Yeah, and I'm going to make a new character for one of the kids. So if anybody else wants to make a new character, feel free to.
So you can knock up new characters. Oh, goodbye, Zima. It is time for you to go.
Oh, rest in peace, Zima.
She was immortalized.
The best of us for the rest of time, so not a bad way to go. And your extremely illegal blueberry pie is also preserved.
I will take the blue spot on this too.
Maybe we all thought Zima died, but really she was sent to prison for like just blue-handed.
So, before we do this character creation, I just want to evolve an aspect so we have more stuff to play with.
Okay.
So, which one do you think we should evolve?
I mean, if we are, if the conflict is settling down, then maybe crystal or saplings.
Oh, those are the words. So we have to evolve the aspects, which is...
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I got one. Maybe out of respect for Zima and Zima's blueberry pie, there is an exception for blue foods now.
Yeah. So why don't we change this aversion to something else, or something a riff off of this, so we're okay with blue foods now. So what does that kind of change into? Besides, yes, blue food.
No uncooked blue food?
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
It could be a complete change
very
in our
similar.
diet, specifically.
Yeah.
Or it could be like, now we have tons of food because we've, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, maybe it's only blue foods, as in nothing else can be blue, but food can be blue. It's like a complete 180.
You mean like we can't wear it for clothes and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
I want to move it past that, though. I think like we want something new to explore.
True.
Preference. But either how we get nutrition or trade. I mean, it could also be related to trade, foods, industry.
We could be dye traders now.
Mm-hmm. We could also use, we could use that dye as both like, maybe the dye that we use fades relatively quickly, and so the sort of class indicator is if your clothes are always a very fresh, like crisp blue, then you can afford to re-dye it frequently.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That is
I
cool.
dig it.
I like that it's evolved from the food, though. It's cool. It's all about the colors.
And then, does anybody want to discard and take a new age 3 card? I already gave you one.
I think I would like to discard this one. That was my H3 card, I think. I just draw.
I might discard one as well.
Oh, neat. Cool.
Which thing do we draw from?
The story, I think?
Hold on. Yes. Hold on. I will deal it to you. Yes, now you should have it. I dealt the wrong cards at first. So I'm going to just take a minute to make a new character.
Cool. I've knocked up a new person in this community, Tamaka, they, them. And Tamaka, they are a dye trader who is obsessed. So the archetype is explorer. So they're obsessed with finding new paths and clients and sources of supply. They frequently have long resting times throughout the winter to produce enough goods to later trade, sell. They identify strongly with all three aspects of the community, and they feel like there is unexploited potential in the dye trade. It's a very exciting time. I just want to see all of the cards.
Right?
Okay, so V, why don't we introduce our new characters? So you can go first.
Yep. Oh, sorry. I've jumped the gun there. I sort of started it already introducing, but it's Tamaka. My dye trader. They are an explorer of the new dye trade, and they're going to build a dye trading business that will rival all the old routes that we used to have. It's going to be a network that is much. I don't know. I think Tamaka just has grand plans for that, and they're quite young. I would think. Still dreaming big.
So my new character is Bowen, he, him, and he's one of Hina and Esther's children. And he is the oracle and uses the land for divination. And paradoxically, he believes that the secret routes will be our ruin. He believes that this land that we've been traveling through will kill us, but identifies with the dye traders and the resting time. So for turns on H3, I usually like to popcorn and go a little more randomly. So Sasha, you haven't gone first, so I'm gonna pick on you.
Okay. So I can use any of the cards in my hand except for the archetypes? Okay.
Yes.
Do we do the moving into the transition? The little paragraph.
Oh yes. Did I not read that already?
Yeah.
That was the Czaten Dacha wagons linger in the larger villages for more than a few days.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have an action. I'm gonna finally use this card. Which is evolve. As pressure builds, we change in ways big and small. As we change, so does our language. Play it on an aspect in the current age and choose a word from the previous age. Move that to the new aspect and explain how it changes meaning because of it. Okay. I'm gonna move sap lengths to secret roots. Or maybe it's, yeah, it is. So it is no longer just a measurement of time, but also sort of like a derogatory way. Like no one's come through here for forever. Since we measured time in sap lengths. I think. And I think the scene that I would like is with right, okay, that's you. All right. Definitely Bowen. And Bowen and Tamaka? With the exploring and whatnot? Yeah. That feels right.
Yeah, and especially I think the prompt being the tides of change pull on us. So what kind of divination does Bowen do?
So he looks at the shapes of the land and the way the land changes, like the growth of plants and trees, the movement of rocks along the hills, the movement of water, natural disasters, and how they shape the land, and that tells him about the future.
I think Tamaka is going to Bowen to get an accurate understanding of how long it will take to travel between two particular points, being this new trading route that Tamaka wants to set up. Bone, do you think you could tell me accurately? Not like the old sap lengths. I need accurate measurements so I know how many shipments I can do.
Tamaka, you must not use that route. It is one of the old ones.
Mm-hmm. Then we should pave it away. Pave it. Make it into an open road that all may enjoy.
It is not that it is concealed. It is that the land resists us, and any that may tread that way will be crushed underneath it. And the land remembers, the land measures time only in saplings.
So what way would you have me take?
We must go along the kingdom roads. I know they may not be as quick as you like, but the ways we used to go, the land has forgotten us and will not welcome us back. I think that's good if you're good with that.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
Alex, why don't you go next? If you're okay with that.
Oh yeah, totally. I was waiting for it. I am going to play the card subgroup synonym, which I'll read out before I put it on the table so that I can read it. A faction within the isolation doesn't use one of the existing words like the others do. They've created a new word for an existing concept. Wait, I completely misunderstood this word thing. Oops.
I think it's, don't you make a new word, like we have one word and then you make a new word for the same thing, but a different group uses it.
Yeah. When I read the title, I was like, oh, so it's changing the meaning of a word. But no, it was the exact opposite. If
you want to do that, I would say go for it. We can bend the rules a little.
Yeah, it's a TTRPG.
Just shake it if you want to.
Alright, so subgroup synonym. Don't look too closely at the card, but what I'm gonna do is change blue. Because I mean, it doesn't mean bad things in the past anymore. It's a new color. It's a vibrant color of like royalty. So I think blue, like there's now another subgroup, the die traders, that use blue as like a radical. It's so like groovy, man. That's blue. I don't know how to drag anything, and I'm not sure if I should. So I'll just leave that there.
I can do it. Just gonna move things around a little.
Oh, nice. And for the scene, the prompt is a movement spreads. And, oh, who should be in it? Who should be in it? I kind of want to go for crotchety old person, Desiree, and die trader Tamaka.
And Tamaka's, yeah, so I think Tamaka's proposing something to Desiree, right? Is Desiree still the de facto leader?
Oh, I think so. Hanging on with the fingernails. It's like, whenever Desiree walks by, people whisper behind her back, but like, man, he's getting on. Like, Shouldn't Z step down? But no, not yet.
You really should. And Tabaka, I think, is saying, trying to get permission, I suppose, but Tabaka definitely thinks of it more of as a rubber stamp, but permission to take a good amount of people to christle something that he really wants done. It's a trading thing, I think is what Tamaka says.
A trading thing?
Yeah. They sort of gesture to like the you know, on one side of where I think the main village square life is, there's a growing pile of boxes. If you were to look inside, it would be a bunch of whistles, cool whistles that have been dyed different colors, and some of them are a little bit commercial. That's what Tamaka is gesturing towards. I need good hands to take these with me.
These made of crystal.
Yes. Well, it is a rare commodity. They will fetch good prices. We'll sell them to the blueies. We'll use that money to better ourselves. I can pay all of these villagers good money. Surely you can see the sense in this plan.
You youngins might not know this, but I've been trying to stop this change so long. But you know, maybe it is worth a shot.
Certainly is.
Though,
I'm sorry.
there is one condition. You're a worldly person, yes? You know much of business and commerce. Is there a shop around here? Yeah, blueberry pie.
Nice. That's what we'll drop the curtains. That's so cool. Yeah.
I'll go next, and then B, you can finish the age 3. Let me see what I've got here. So I'm going to use perception. Oh, I should read it before I put it down. Perceptions. Using this word carries a weight. When we say it, people form an image and it changes what they think of us. So play on a previously defined word. Explain how using the word changes others' perceptions of the speaker. Shaping our own future. We have outsiders. So I am going to connect this to tether. And I'm going to say that people who use tether are kind of associated with being more of like the old ways. Like we've changed more, like kind of an older conception of like family and culture. Like if you call your partner, oh, that's my tether, you're kind of seen as like old-fashioned, rather than saying like, oh, that's my husband or my wife. Yeah, exactly. That's an old people word. That was back when we were still nomadic. When you had to tie yourself together on the horse.
Yeah, right. No one does that anymore.
I want to do. I actually want to do Tamaka and Bowen because they're of like a similar age. But I want to contrast how different their views are. Like Bowen is much more connected to like the old ways than Tamaka is, I think. Are you okay with that, V?
Yeah. Certainly, I definitely think so. Yeah. Do you want to frame the scene?
Yeah. So I think Bowen. So Bowen is not an important person per se, but he is the son of like I think that Ina was a pretty like important figure in the community. So like, you know, he's kind of has that in terms of like a family name. And so I think that Bowen is going to like propose to Tamaka. And I think Tamaka is like working on their stock, and Bowen kind of comes in. And I don't think this is like completely out of the blue. It's like, you know,
because it's sort of an advisory, businessy relationship going.
Yeah. But I think you definitely kind of see this proposal as like, wow, you are really old-fashioned. So Bowen kind of walks into your business tent where you're kind of working with the stock and is like looking a little bit nervous. I was like, Tamaka, can I have a moment?
I think Tamaka sort of they were deep in thought, and so like, whoa, Buck.
Oh,
of course. Just you.
I apologize. Oh, yes, exactly, Alex. That's great. So I think Tamaka's like, Bowen says, Tamaka, I have something very important to discuss with you. I spent sap lengths of time communing with the land over this.
Mm.
And I've come to ask you if you will tether together with me.
Tether? With you? I'm so sorry. I think there's like a moment where Tabaka is definitely like, what? This is a joke, right? And then says that, but realizes that they might be very insulting, and so sort of wants to backtrack. Though, I mean,
yes, I feel we could have a very strong relationship, both for your business and for our family.
Oh, Bowen. I care so much about you, but not in that way.
Well,
we should always look after each other, and I guess we, are tethered. If you look at it in the old ways, we're good friends, and we could ride out together if we wanted.
It's just. I think I saw some lightning.
I know. I'm sorry. It's getting really dramatic here.
And I think I say like, well, of course I respect your wishes. It's just
sound of Bowen's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I see so many so many of our siblings leave and scatter to the wind every day, and we cannot bear to lose any more of my clan members. I think that's good.
Yeah, that is good. I have a very appropriate card for my current mood lighting. Unity saying, when things look their darkest, stormiest, lightningest, this is what we say to remember who we are. I think I want to put it, man, so many good things. I think I want to put it in associated with the resting time. Being the quiet moments where you're sheltering from the darkest, right? And then we say something. And I really want this one to be an open discussion, being the last card, and it's being Unity. I feel like it's in the spirit to have a collaborative approach to this one. Yeah, what kind of themes have been strongest in our community? What do you guys reckon?
Roots not like paths, but roots like trees?
Oh, what's that tree network that it's like they're all combined underground together?
Yeah, like there's like an aspen clone thing.
I know it's nicknamed the Trembling Giant. I know this.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be so cool. The Trembling Giant. I think the saying is definitely something like that. Like, the trembling hole, untraced, but in us all, something like that.
The trembling what? Sorry.
The traveling giant. Trembling giant.
Oh.
Yeah, the wind makes the leaves tremble, but the roots stay strong together.
Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna write that down.
It's gotta be more pithy.
Sorry? Cool. So I'm gonna write it as the Trembling Giant. It is won't fit. But the idea is, though the leaves shake, though the leaves shake, the roots stay still and strong. It's a lot of right. That's like...
It's so cool.
Yeah, so I think we will have a scene between the old guard now, in a time for courage. I think Sasha and Alex. It's time for Desiree and Tia.
Desiree and Tia.
They're in the middle of a thunderstorm. I will provide the background sound effects.
Where are we having this final showdown?
Are we fighting?
We could be.
We could always be fighting. I like the eaves at the foot of a caravan that hasn't moved for like, I don't know, 5 years probably, so it's all shored up. Maybe it's like a
wheel.
Huh?
Broken wheel.
Yeah, it's like a little cafe. It's a cafe called the Broken Wheel. And we're like inside or just inside, outside of the rain, having some kind of tea. I'm definitely not drinking a blue tea because I've always been allergic, and I will continue to be allergic, regardless of how in fashion it becomes to drink blue tea. So
I'm definitely drinking blue tea.
Well,
A nice slice of blueberry pie, because blueberries are delicious.
Mm-hmm. So I've heard.
You should try them one day.
I will pass. Thank you very much. But I'm happy to see that you've found your own way forward into the future.
Well, it's the thing about the untraced high roads and the wheels we turn on. No matter how much one person standing at the front tries to push them back, they aren't going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
How's life for you?
It's been better. I'm getting old. This whole change thing was cool when it was working in my favor. But this age we're moving into, we used to rely on the cycles and on the old paths to know our way forward, but those routes are being lost to time, and those cycles haven't looped back around for an easy 30 years. I'm gonna be fine. I'll die at some point. But for Bowen, for Tamaka, I worry. They simply aren't rooted in the same things that we were, I don't know if that's better for them or worse.
They do not have the roots we do. I'm not sure if they're part of the trembling giant of the untraced high roads, but
I think we can cut there, unless you can finish.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say he'll move forward anyways.
As they always do. Yeah, that's good.
So I will read the transition into the legacy, the last moments or the aftermath of isolation. The divide between the Czaten Dacha and outsiders is thoroughly blurred. The wagons stop rolling. Our people find comfortable places among the former outsiders. And our children won't be proper Czaten Dacha at all. What remains of the old ways? So I will give everyone a legacy card. And so we'll each there's 3 options on the legacy card, and you can either do a legacy for your particular character, or you can do it for the isolation as a whole.
I've got one. I've got an idea for.
Go for it.
These are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Out of the ash, a seedling sprouts, and I think what that looks like in our sort of world is someone young, very much like Tamaka, who grew up in a stationary house a comfortable place amongst the outsiders. Besides that, hey, there's something about the old routes, and then there's like a shot of a wheel turning and a caravan moving off. Yeah.
I have one. So my final thing that I'm choosing is a hard decision made in secret. I think that there has been a lot of listening to people disagree with you and then doing it anyway over the course of this game. And I think that tradition follows forward in sort of like mostly in like family dynamics and like your parents said this, but we will work around it and figure out a way to make this into just how a new tradition. This is how things will be moving forward. And you can either put yourself in front of the wheel and be crushed by it, or you can get on the wagon. Yeah.
I can go. So mine is coming across the rubble and ruin. And so I'm going to look at the last moments of Bowen's life, which are he goes out to commune with the land and dies in a rock slide, basically becoming one with the land. And kind of symbolically, and that rock slide is in one of the secret routes that used to be really important, and after that rock slide it becomes completely blocked. And so symbolically, like, kind of showing an end to those old ways.
I think, or I still don't remember my character's name. But Desiree. So ashamed. Poor Desiree, we see like a freezing winter morning. This Desiree like huddled under some blankets. Like this light is just beaming into her face as he finally wakes up and shakes the sleep out of her eyes, walks over towards the window, and out across the lands you can see like some frosty mountains covered in snow as like a blizzard rolls in. We can see like the crystal trees being like slowly covered in sleet. And then Desiree just like puts on a robe, cuddles up, shuts the windows, and like just looks down at the whistle and smiles fondly.
Yay! So that's Dialect. I hope you all had fun.
It's good.
Does anyone have anything they want to talk about?
I just want to thank everyone for your time, and it's been really, really lovely to play with all of you, especially Noella. Haven't also played with you yet. I've played with the other two previously, but yeah, it's been lovely to get to play with you all again. And sorry for all the pyrotechnics.
Never apologize for art.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.